Good afternoon. We are about to do the grand finale, which is the dessert made with Vidalia onions. So you're not going to believe this one, but it is so delicious, and most people will never guess that it has onions in it. So I've had people tell me that they thought it was pear or apple. So anyhow, it's going to be fun, y'all. So it's called Vidalia onion cobbler. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to cook the onions in a skillet. So I'm going to put 2 tablespoons of butter in the skillet. Let that start melting a little bit. And then I've been slicing up these onions. So it was 3 medium-sized Vidalia onions. So we're just going to cut them into slices, just like this, so that it's, just nice little half slices like that. Little half moons, that's what I would call them. Hoping y'all can see. I might need to turn the camera down a little bit. So. I hope you've enjoyed the week of Vidalia onion recipes. You'll notice that they're not really dietetic, but I am working on some more diet-friendly versions, and I'll be posting those as well. But wanted to get the main ones out to start with. All right, that butter is melting pretty good there, so I'm going to start tossing these in. Well, actually, I'm going to put the sugar in first. This is a 1/2 cup of brown sugar that's going to go in here. Turn this heat down. And you pack the brown sugar. I really packed it in there. I have to get it out with a knife. Brown sugar can get hard on you. I softened it in the microwave, but you can also put a piece of white bread in with your sugar, and the sugar will absorb the moisture from the bread, and that helps soften it too. Now I'm going to put, using my cute little measuring cup, this is 1/2 cup of white sugar. It's going right in here with this. And then I've got a teaspoon of cinnamon. And now we're going to put a 1/2 cup of Karo syrup. I'm just gonna, I think I'll put it in this one because I'll probably pour better out of this. Okay. Pour that in. I've got my heat on really low so that this doesn't scorch. Boy, that smells great already. Now I'm going to put in 3 cups of water. Now it sounds like a lot, but we're going to be putting in about 6 cups of onions in there, so we'll let that all dissolve. That tried to stick on the bottom already. All right. Then we'll just start putting the onions in. I'm just going to separate them out a little bit as I put them in. You'll never guess where I found this recipe. we went to the little cotton picking fair up in Gay, Georgia, and it was about 3 years ago, and the Boy Scouts were selling cobblers. And they were selling peach cobbler, and then the scoutmaster said, "Would you like to taste some Vidalia onion cobbler?" And I looked at him like he was crazy because I never heard of an onion cobbler before. And anyhow, he said, "I've got one over here if you want a sample." So I'm like, okay, I'll try it. And I was thinking it was going to be something real savory. Oh, wow. It was better than the peach cobbler. And luckily, he had the recipe posted on the front of the booth. And so we took a photo of it and came home, and I began making it. And it has been a hit with everybody that I've served it to. All right, so I'm gonna keep cutting these up and get them all in here. This has got to simmer for about 25 minutes just to get really, it'll simmer down and get very translucent, and the flavors will go all through those onions, and then we'll go to the next step, which is actually making the cobbler. So I'll be back with you in just a little while. All right, y'all, it's been 25 minutes, and I want you to see how this is just cooked down, and it's really juicy over here. You can see how pretty those onions are looking. I mean, they've turned the color of the cinnamon. So I'm going to take those off the heat. I'll just move them back here for right now. And I'm going to bring my Dutch oven pan, because that's what you need to cook this. It's a nice Dutch oven pan that has the nice lid. This one is made by Lodge. They make really good pans. You can see that. But it'll be where we cover it up and put it in the oven. Now, when the Boy Scouts were doing it, they actually had the kind of Dutch oven where they could have a fire underneath it, and then it had the lid had a lip around it, and they put coals on top of it. So they were really doing some outdoor cooking, and it was really neat to watch them do that. So I've got 1 stick of butter that I've put in here. Let me see if I can get y'all a little closer so you can see a little bit better about what's going on in the pot. And I'll tilt you down a little bit. Oops. There we go. I think you can see that a little bit better. Okay, so I've got this stick of butter that's in here, and I'm melting that. And while it's melting, we're going to mix up a batter. So I've taken 2 cups of self-rising flour, and I'm adding 2 cups of sugar, and then I'm going to whisk that together a little bit. And then I'm going to add 2 cups of milk. Just whatever kind of milk you have. Some people call it sweet milk, whole milk, 1%, 2%, whatever, just milk, okay? Not buttermilk. So there's 2 cups of milk. And don't know if I'll be able to stir it with that. Let me try it with this. Just want to make sure it gets all wet. That butter is melting nicely. I've got the heat on really low. Right now that I've got that stirred in, I might be able to do the whisk. Try that. Just trying to get the big lumps out of it. Make sure there's none stuck on the bottom. All right, now let's see if this butter is just about completely melted. Be there in just a second. Okay, so now the butter is completely melted. So now I'm going to turn the fire off from underneath this. I just wanted to have it on just enough to melt the butter. And now I'm going to pour all this batter right in on top of the butter. We're going to just dip this onion mixture and slowly put it all over the batter. And it will probably sink down in there, and that's fine. So I'm gonna see how good I can do it with this. I'm just gonna pour it in. Try to get the onions evenly placed in the batter. I know it seems like a lot of juice, but you don't want a dried out cobbler. So this is the exact recipe that I got from the Scoutmaster. We're going to bake this in the oven. After I put the lid on it, we're going to bake it in the oven at 350 for about, let me use a pot holder, for about 45 minutes. The Scoutmaster wasn't really sure how long to do it in the oven because they always did it out over the coals with the coals on top, but I tried last year when I made it, and every time I've made it, I've usually just done exactly what he had on there, about 45 minutes, and that was sufficient. Alrighty, so now I'm just going to put the lid on this. We'll put it in the oven and let it bake, and I'll be back with you shortly. Well, in about 45 minutes actually. All right, y'all, I want you to see, I just got this out of the oven, and you can see it's a beautiful tan color. It's crispy around the edges. It's still bubbling, actually. I mean, it was right out of the oven. I went ahead and dipped out a little portion so that I could try to cool it off and take a little taste, just so I could tell y'all what's what. It is so hot, I hope I don't burn my tongue. Yeah, it's pretty hot, y'all. As you can see, it's got the nice dough consistency. And you can see down in there, there's some of the onion. So, anyhow, get a little piece of that. Yum. Y'all, that's so good. We're not going to tell our guests what it is. We've got some people coming over. We're not going to tell them what it is. We're going to let them try to guess. And we're going to serve ice cream with it. Just vanilla ice cream. So, anyhow, y'all give this a try. That finishes up our week of Vidalia onions recipes. We've taken it from appetizers all the way to dessert. So hope you enjoy. and I'll talk to y'all later. Bye-bye.